what I'm going to be sharing about is being an image bearer. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and watch the video.
And you know what you're doing. Y'all ready?
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life.
All right, now you sing it too wild.
It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
Okay, this is why I shouldn't have let y'all talk me into doing pop songs in church. Now, don't you bring all that Mariah Christina messed up in here. I don't care about hearing you. I want to hear God through you.
As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Na 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 na. Yeah, I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there are some we know, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah, I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, yeah, make the change. Why you get it right, yeah. Then you close your mind. With the man in the mirror, I'm asking him to change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, and then make that change. Na 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 na. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Na 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 na. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life.
Woo! Are you kidding me? Make some noise.
Okay, so that is our audition video for our worship team. If you want to be part of the worship team, you have to do that. No, in fact, for the worship teams of the future, there is something in there that you can take, which is, I don't want to hear you, I want to hear God through you. But that's got nothing to do with what I'm about to say. Anybody know what that film is? No. Pardon? Nope. Okay. It's very similar to Sister Act in its style, but it's a film called Joyful Noise. And it's about two women who have to come together despite their differences. Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah. They have to come together in order to save their town's gospel choir. And just like Sister Act, they start using pop songs to get the message across. Now, I didn't see anybody leave the church as we played a Michael Jackson song. My apologies for Michael Jackson. I don't support him at all. But the film's decent. The film's decent. What I can say is you will not be hearing pop songs from the front anytime soon. Not even The Road to Armadillo, which I know we did many years ago. However, the song in the clip got me thinking. Anybody guess what the song's title is? Man in the Mirror. And it talks about wanting to bring a change in the world around us. And then it highlights that that change has to start with the man in the mirror. And this got me thinking. What is it I see when I look in the mirror? I mean, I'm pretty pleased when I look in my mirror. I don't know whether you are pleased when you look in your mirror. My mom's pleased when she sees me, and I'm looking in my mirror. I can tell. Come on, a big thank you. Thank you. So sweet. But what is it that you see when you look in the mirror? We live in a world where identity is something we talk about a lot. It's something that is incredibly important to us. I see Vince has had his hair cut at last. His identity slipped for a while, but now we're back. You see, it's important to us. In fact, if you do a simple Google search on the word identity, you will find news reports, movies, government sites, a whole host of internet pages with different services and products you can look at or purchase, all about identity. There are conversations going on in workplaces, schools, councils, everywhere, all about identity. What is it we see when we look in the mirror? These conversations, the what are we, who are we, why are we conversations, are not new. Every generation has had them. Every generation has wrestled with them. Am I a rocker or am I a mod? Am I an emo? See, you're just not down with the youths of today. Am I an emo or am I a rocker? Every generation wrestles with this question. What is it I see when I look in the mirror? What am I? Who am I? Why am I? So if they're having the conversation out there, and everybody's having this conversation about identity, why is it the subject for a Sunday morning service? Well, unfortunately, there has been a huge change in the voices in this conversation. And if I'm brutally honest, I think big sections of the church have lost their voice. They've been drowned out by a narrative, by a story being told by the culture of today. What do I mean by this? I'll give you an example. Several hundred years ago, Go back in your minds. Some of you can remember it. Some of us can't. Several hundred years ago, it was normal to believe in God. We looked around and many of our institutions, including our laws, were based on God. But today, the cultural norm is that we don't believe in God. Might believe in spirituality, might believe in a few other things, but we don't believe in God. You see, the cultural and secular story or narrative has changed how people view things, how people think about things. Peter Linus of the Evangelical Alliance speaks about this. He says, without God as the authority and foundation guiding us as to how to live, the secular story tells us we need to look elsewhere. So that simple yet dramatic change in the narrative that people hear and follow now means we have a generation of people who are looking anywhere but God for reassurance when they look in that mirror of who they are, what they are, and why they are. Joe Frost, also of the Evangelical Alliance, makes the point that self-realization starts to fill in the blanks. It's not about what others think about me. It's about what I think about me, how I feel, or how I define me. We hear the narrative of you do you. You be the best you. Live your best life. I've even heard that in the titles of preachers. I hasten to add, not at this church. The problem is when the only voice that matters to you is yourself, your own ego, you set yourself up for a fail. The ego is a fickle thing. 1 minute you're doing well. 1 minute you are the best version of you that you can be. You're living your best life. And then, bang! Just making sure you're awake. Out of nowhere, you get drenched in self-doubt. Fixated on the imperfections and failings in your life. Every flaw gets magnified. And no longer are you living your best life. No longer are you the best version of you. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's like being a politician, doing a U-turn on every decision that you make. The problem is, this takes a toll on lives, on our lives. And it's all because when we look in the mirror, we want to know, who are we? What are we? Why are we? We want to know that we matter. There's a hole in every one of us. And it is that hole that says we matter. Why do we matter? How do we matter? Do we matter? There's a well-known cosmetics brand that runs an advert with a slogan. Because you're worth it. I have lots of need for the use of their products. And there's a big helping of truth in that statement. Male or female, big or little, short or tall, old or young, black or white, you get the picture. We are all worth it. We all matter. Unfortunately, the advert doesn't answer the most important question it raises. To who? To who am I worth it? To who do I matter? Well, I've got an answer. In fact, every follower of Jesus has an answer. The church should have an answer. It's a simple answer. We are worth it to God. We matter to God. How do I know that? Because God sent Jesus to tell us and show us. It was because we matter to God, because he loves us, that Jesus came and paid the greatest price for us. Can we just flash up Romans 5, verse 8, please? Just making sure Woz was awake at the back. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, while we were messed up, while our hair wasn't done properly, Christ died for us. Jesus is the greatest expression of God's love for us. He shows us that we matter to the Creator of the heavens and the earth. The Bible narrative is simple and clear. We matter. We are worth it, not because of anything we say or do, or how we feel, or because of anyone else. We simply matter because God matters. After God had created the heavens and the earth, after speaking into life the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the creatures of the land, God created two beings that were to be the pinnacle of his world. Two beings that would be set apart from anything else he had created. When he had created and breathed life into Adam and Eve, then and only then did he say what's recorded in Genesis 1:31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Only after creating Adam and Eve, only after placing man on the earth, did God look and say, it was very good. Up until that point, God was happy with what he created. Up until the point that humans were created, everything was good. But now everything was very good. You see, the introduction of the word very, or meod in the Greek. I'm looking around. Oh, crumbs. Meod? That's okay. It's ancient Greek. I didn't expect it. Don't you worry. Yes. That word very, or meod, in Greek meant it was exceedingly good. Not just good anymore. Not just the normal good, but exceedingly good. Like Mr. Kipling's cakes. But why? Why was our creation a game changer? What was so special about humanity that makes creation very good? This is the question that we have asked since the days of the Garden of Eden. King David asked the same thing in one of his Psalms. Psalm 8, 1-4. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babies and infants, you have established strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the works of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him? And the Son of Man, that you care for him? The answer makes sense only when we look at the man in the mirror and we ask, who am I? What am I? Why am I? Genesis 1:26-27 gives us the answers we're all looking for. It reveals to us our identity. Genesis 1:26-27. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Who am I? What am I? Why am I? I am an image bearer. I am a bearer of God's image. I am to bear God's image to all of creation. God inserts that very word into his sentence because we are his image bearers. We matter because the one who created us, the one who knows us, matters. We are his representatives. We are like him. We are in his image. I said earlier that we matter not because of how we feel, which is up or down, what we say or do, which can be good or bad, or even because of anyone else around us. We matter because the one whose image we bear matters. Knowing this truth means the conversation is no longer about self-identification or how I define myself. It's now rightly about understanding self in relation to the Imago Dei. Imago Dei. It's a term we get from the Latin. It's translated in English, the image of God. Humans, that's you and me, all of you, all of me. That's everyone in this world have been made in the image of God. That means we are like him in our moral, spiritual, and intellectual essence. Hear me right. I'm not suggesting we are mini gods. But we have been given the capacity and the ability to reflect God's moral, spiritual, and intellectual essence, his unique nature, his quality. We've been created in his likeness with unique abilities and capacities, absent from all other creatures of the earth that mirror God's divine nature. We are image bearers of God. If you look around the world today, you'll see images of kings and queens, statues, paintings. In fact, if you put your hand in your pocket and rustle around, you may even find a coin that bears the image of our late Queen. You see, in years gone by, kings and leaders of nations would have statues, paintings, coins produced that bore their image. It was designed to cause people to know, to recognize, to acknowledge the importance and the achievements of that king, queen, emperor, leader, whoever it was modeled on. We are that for God. We are the statues, the paintings, the coins, image bearers that should reflect him, his achievements, his power, his authority, his works all around us. And knowing that each one of us, those that aren't in this building today included, the whole of humanity, knowing that we are all image bearers of God, should have an effect on how we behave towards one another. Not just within the walls of the church, but outside. Let me give you a few examples. There should never be a hint of racism in a church. We should be at the forefront of the fight against racism, because we know that whatever our colour, whatever our neighbour's colour, we are all image bearers of God. The truth should ensure that our attitudes, our behaviors towards those who have sinned against us and others is one of forgiveness, one of second chances, for no other reason than they are image bearers too of the most sacred, holy, and good image, the image of God. When we see and hear about people who have looked elsewhere for their identity, and I pick on this one because it's easy, because it's well known, I should say, the gay and transgender communities, we need to see the image bearer within them, the one God created them to be, not the image they have taken on, not the image that the world's narrative has encouraged them to wear. I'm not suggesting we move away from Scripture and what God says on this issue. We've already read that God made us male and female. That is something He determines, not us. We're clear here on our stance on sexuality, on marriage, on gender. If it does not conform to Scripture, it is sin. And if you want references, Genesis 19, 1-13, Leviticus 18, 22, 20, 13, Romans 1, 26-27, 1 Corinthians 6, 9, 1 Timothy 1, 10, just to give you a few references that tell you what sin is and that that's a sin. However, I want to stress that our response has to be one of love, one of compassion. Let me remind you that the room here is full of sinners who need grace. Don't ever think your sin is less than the next person's, because to God, sin is sin. We might have placards and run around shouting things about homosexuality because it's a sin that we can see. But just imagine if we could see your sin. The times you lied, the times you stole, the things you watched on TV that you should never have watched, those words you said to your wife that you should never have said. Those things you said to your husband that you should never have said. Just imagine if we had a placard. You see, sin is sin. And our response to it has to be driven by compassion and love. Why? Because they're image bearers of God. God has placed His image upon them. It may be messed up. It may be distorted. It may be blurred. But it is still the image of God under there. Knowing that all humans, every one of us, are image bearers of God, should stir us to stand on the side of all life. Any life taken is wrong, no matter how old or how young that life is. All lives matter. That's why, however emotive this subject that I'm about to say is, and I'm not going to keep on it, we have to take into account that we are all image bearers of God. Abortion is wrong. Both the mother and the child growing within her are image bearers. As Psalm 139, 13-17 puts it, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. I don't say that to shame or to condemn anyone here, anyone who has experience of abortion. But I say it to show that the truth of humans being image bearers of God has massive implications for our thoughts and our actions, what we will stand for and what we won't stand for. If you're under any illusion, we are pro-life in this church. But in a way, those that have made poor choices, who have sinned, those who have covered the imago Dei that they are with another image, have only caused the image of God to become blurred by sin. May even have distorted it a little by their actions and choices. But I thank God that every person can choose to follow God. And when that happens, they are transferred to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. That's Colossians 1:13-15. And because Jesus is the image of God, the perfect, spotless, unblemished image of the invisible God, then Hebrews 1:3, he is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature. And he upholds the universe by the word of his power after making purification for sins. He sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high. When we are transferred into his kingdom, 2 Corinthians 3 verse 18 comes to life. We all, with unveiled face, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. And Colossians 3 verse 10. And have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of its creator. All of that to say simply, Jesus can take a distorted image and make it new. Like a smeared mirror, we can be cleaned and made to reflect perfectly the image set before us. There is now no condemnation in Christ. There is love, compassion, and forgiveness. The problem is, too many churches start their narratives, their story at this point. All are sinners. Christ came and died to save us. And now we are saved. They tell only half the story. Our narrative has to be, we started in a perfect world, created by God, created to be image bearers, called very good by the one who knows us, designed us, created us. God was the beginning of the story. He is the focus of it now. We are to share, project, reflect, show his image to anyone and anything that we come across. We matter in the story because it's God's story. He matters, therefore we matter. Because we are his bearers, his image bearers, his imago Dei. So when you look in the mirror, you now know that you matter, that you are an image bearer. When you look at anyone else around you, on the news, you know that no matter what they have done, what they have said or thought, they too are image bearers. And therefore, they matter to our Creator. And if they matter to our Creator, then they have to matter to us. The point of this whole 40 minutes was to get across the fact that we are image bearers of God. We were made for a purpose, to declare the splendor and the glory, the achievement and the power of God to all creation. And that mandate was not just placed on people that are in the seats of this church. It was placed on all of humanity. Everyone is our brother or our sister. It is only within the confines and the context of following Jesus that we can properly work out that mandate. That we can share, project, show Jesus, God, be an image bearer. And being an image bearer, knowing that those out there are image bearers, should drive us to a life of love and compassion. Not judgment, not hatred, not racism. It should drive us to embrace as many as we can, to show them the image that we bear. It should drive us to stand up against injustice. It should drive us to stand up for those that don't have a voice. We should never leave the pages of the Bible. It is our standard for living. And it is what we are to show others. But one final challenge and one final warning. Paul said it clearly. It is not our job to judge those outside of the church. It is our job to share the message of Jesus, to be image bearers, to show our true identity in Christ, through Christ, to a world that needs to know they too are image bearers that have got smudged. It is, however, as Paul says, our job to ensure that within the church we keep to that. So this message will be different to other movements, other denominations, other churches. They'll preach a different thing. They'll preach all about love and inclusivity. They'll preach it's okay to be the best you, to live your best life. I'm sorry, they're wrong. It's okay to live the best version God created of you. It's okay to live the best life God has planned out for you. And He'll give you the strength to do it if you'll fall into His arms and ask Him to. Because you are an image bearer. You bear the image of Almighty God. You're something special. You matter because the image you bear matters. So when you go home today and you look in the mirror and you start singing that song, The Man in the Mirror, you can answer the question, what am I? I am an image bearer. Who am I? I bear the image of God. Why am I? To share that image with everybody that I can. Let's stand. If those who are on teas and coffees could make their way out, that would be brilliant. And let's take a moment to let that sink in. You are an image bearer. You look like God. You smell like God. If we bit you, you'd taste like God. You are not God, but you are to reflect Him to everyone around you. So be careful what you say to other people. Be careful what you write about other people. Be careful of the image you portray on social media. It's an absolute swamp. And Christians, we don't do well there. So remember that we are image bearers, but they are image bearers also. Love, compassion, seeing God's face in the face of your enemy should cause your heart to break for them. Let's say the grace to one another.